Okay, getting ready for round 4 with the White Splash amulet. Yeah, so far we have faced 2 4-color decks, in which Cultivator Colossus has been quite good, and we faced a Oops All Spells deck in which Endurance has been quite good. So we haven't really faced Grixis Death Shadow, which is the main thing that we are prepared for here. But I mean, of course, it's modern. Even if we are to face Grixis Death Shadow, I don't expect to face it more than 1 or 2 times. So, you know, Amulet, just being Amulet is always a good thing. Has a lot of natural strength against any deck we can come across. I think we've seen Eladamri's Call been quite good. I've been very impressed with this card. Anytime it grabs us a Primeval Titan, it just feels really, really good. So yeah, I mean, just getting to play 10 Primeval Titans, more like 11 with Cultivator rather than 8, is I think a really nice place to be with the deck. There's part of me that's considering cutting a Simic Growth Chamber for a Gruul Turf, just to have a single Gruul Turf in the deck. Just because I don't feel like we use blue mana except for Talaria West, like specifically when we search Simic Talaria, or when we can do it with Dryad in play. But maybe that's too greedy. Okay, we're against the Lurrus deck. Well, we have to mulligan this because it doesn't do anything. Keep this. I think I'm gonna bottom the land, because if we're against a deck that wants to Thoughtseize, having Eladamri's Call will be quite nice. And I think I'm actually going to go Sanctuary, because it allows me to Eladamri's Call next turn and get full value out of the Saga. Especially if this is something like Hammer, being able to get both tokens will be very useful. Okay, so we are finally against Grixis, so we'll see. We've built this list to be good against Grixis. Let's see how much the reality matches the theory. Kroxa? Yeah. If I discard the Growth Chamber, I probably just want to get to Titan. I think I have to discard the Temple Garden. The thing is, there's a part of me that wants to Eladamri's Call for Endurance here, but I think it's just better to just grab another Titan. The problem is if I don't hit a land, like specifically a non-bounce land on my turn, my mana immediately becomes very awkward. And Endurance does shut down Channeler and Croxa and potentially Unholy Heat. Yeah, I'll go ahead and grab Endurance. So here, I'm going to Amulet. And I think I'm going to Endurance. It is weak to a second Croxa, but it makes Unholy Heat a lot less scary, and Channeler pretty far from being anything. Okay, they do have the Thoughtseize. Maybe I was just supposed to grab a Titan. I didn't know I was going to get this second Amulet, though. My theory on getting map here is I can go for a Urza Saga and go for an aggro plan, and if they had a Shadow, I think they would have played it, so... Yeah, now they're using resources to take out the Endurance. Game 1 is still hard. So most likely the map is just grabbing Urza Saga. Unless we draw Cultivator Colossus, in which case I think we're getting Castle. Well, there's a castle. Yeah, so I will lead. I'll lead on an attack. And I'll get the Urza Saga here, and we don't have to worry about Kulligan's command because we have Castle as something we can discard. Croxa. Now iteration. There's the Croxa. And they do have Delirium now. Well, at least that's something we can discard to Croxa. That, or we could just play out. I guess it makes sense more to play out the Grazer, right? Maybe, okay, I could make a Saga token, play out the Grazer, bounce the Saga, replay the Saga, because I don't think the second amulet's gonna matter too much, and that just gives us more turns at 6 mana and more Saga tokens. I guess I'll block with one of these Grazers. My thought being I don't want to get into a situation where removal clears the way for a channeler and then I die. They just took themselves off of 4 card types. Would have loved to see a red source here, because a red source would probably have won us the game. Maybe they wanted to be off 4 card types to be able to keep back blockers, is their thought. Fatal Push the Grazer, okay. Why wouldn't they do this just to start? Why would they let us go to blocks? I mean, that was just clearly a misplay by our opponent, and I don't think we were supposed to play around our opponent misplaying. Yeah, I mean, we lose here. But, like, we could, if we just block there, wouldn't it matter? Okay, game 1's always the hardest. Now let's go to our game 2 sideboard plan, which is this is out, this is out, this is out, this is out, and we bring in our transformational sideboard. And now we are a green-white big mana deck. Maybe if I had grabbed Titan rather than Endurance, we would have been better. I wasn't thinking Thoughtseize was going to happen because they just hadn't played Thoughtseize up to that point, and I thought if they had Thoughtseize, they would have played it on either turn 1 or turn 2. It would seem strange not to. So if they top decked the Thoughtseize, I'll keep this. The Dryad is actually a pretty big threat in this hand. I think it makes sense to lead on Forest first. That way if we draw an untapped land, we can Eladamri's Call on turn 2, and if we don't, we can just play Valakut into Vestige for Dryad. So yeah, I'm going to lead on Forest. So if we draw an untapped land, we will call. If we draw... if we draw a blank, then we will just play a Valakut. Or maybe they'll Thoughtseize us, okay. Takes the Dryad. I don't know 100% what I want to call for yet, so I'll wait a turn before calling. Next turn, if we want to, we could call for Dryad and play Dryad. No, we can't. We don't have the green mana. The call should probably be for Titan anyway. Maybe we've learned our lesson. Shadow, okay. I think I'm okay with taking 6. If my opponent wants to dress down now, then they're not dressing down the Titan, so I'll take 6. Sure. Okay, we need to have some good draws here. Well, we're dead to another dress down. I think I'm going to play the Celestia Sanctuary, my thought being if I draw a Titan, I can bog before the Titan to protect it from heat, and if I draw a white spell, I want to be able to cast it. We have flooded out. We have only drawn 3 spells this whole game. Okay. Well, hopefully we can avoid Drown in the Loch. But I imagine they have to have Drown in the Loch. Yep. Well, we lost to Shadow, but that'll happen. I don't necessarily think that game was representative, because I mean, we drew 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 lands and 3 non-land cards. I mean, you can kind of count Talaria West as a non-land card, but I don't generally. Like, I think that's sort of, if you start to count your utility lands as non-land cards, that's not really a fair way of counting. So, I mean, if you're trying to do that, I would, consider Arboreal Grazer almost a land, because it's, not a real spell. So either way of counting it, it's 10 lands and 3 non-land cards, which just feels like, we lost more to just flooding out than to actually anything else, especially given the fact that, post-sideboard, we're cutting 4 lands, bringing in 2, we're at 30. So, so a bit of bad luck, but we can dust it off and hope we do better next round.